All right, let's get to work. I'm just going through the list of all drug companies. Yeah, we're gonna get to Zoetis and United. That's the whole point. We're gonna try to get to all these. J&J's, they have their medtech division. They spun out the consumer, so it's a little bit of a different company than it was when I grew up with it. And my guess is, medtech's going to go away too. Yeah, Uther's always been interesting. Nice thing about a company like ours is we just get to profits very fast. We're not like most other startups. I don't think AI is going to replace hedge fund jobs soon, but we'll see. I'm going to try. I think it'll augment. It's kind of like for programmers as well. Our jobs are easier when we use AI. A lot of what we do, what we've been doing over the last few months is refactoring old code to support more markets, more stable, and just better kind of scale and stuff like that. We only hire people full-time who want to live and work in New York City. But yeah, like I said, New York is very important for us. In person's important because we want people to be committed to what we're doing. Sometimes the market's already shaking and moving by the time I'm waking up. I just want to stream from home immediately. A little bit RJ, but not really. A lot of those people who miss it don't have a lot of things to look forward to in other places, if that makes sense. So I think they might miss it for that reason, because their life is a little bit deadbeat. The lack of responsibility is certainly nice. I mean, you really live a hedonistic life in prison, where you do what you want to do. You watch TV, you sleep all day, you can read. I mean, it's like being retired. What it looks like to be retired.
Filled.
Today I can sit and read about statistics. Tomorrow I can sit and read about medicine. Wow. No, I think single cell is great, You want to be a biology guy, you should be a biology guy. The grass isn't always greener. Stock markets are stressful, annoying. Business world is, you can do that kind of work and you have a real life. You can go home. Your whole work doesn't follow you everywhere. You're not going to sit there and be stressed about some experiment you're doing, waking you up in the middle of the night with scaring you, Yeah, I understand, but you're also a postdoc. You can go work at a drug company or some other thing and make twice as much money or 3 times as much money, and you're never gonna be rich, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be able to support yourself and a family. And I don't only work from home. I spend a lot of time in the office. Lately, this quantum thing has gotten me very agitated, and once it winds down a little bit, I'll be in the office quite a bit more. I also have to live in one of the boroughs until, it was 3 years, so it's coming up in May. 3 years since I've been home. I want to walk to work, man. That's the one luxury I've always had. Even when I was a youngin' with no money, I always said, I'm going to invest in an apartment next to my office. Because if I can't work near my office, then I'm not going to sit there and I just want to walk straight to work. So nipocalimab, they bought a company called Momenta for this one drug. It's supposed to be a potential blockbuster drug. So a lot of people watch my original videos, became very wealthy, a couple of billionaires. Well, a lot of them were startup guys. I would just wait. If the volume and the insanity dies down, that's pretty good for our shorts. It's just, continued insanity. But if it just dies down, it's quiet and nobody cares. You got 3 guys saying it's 15 to 30 years away. It's just not that exciting. I know a lot about quantum. 15 to 30 years from now, one, it's not that long. But the winners are not going to be these 2 companies or these 2 frauds. They're going to be different companies. So I look at each company individually. And then it's 15 to 30 years, not to AI, which is a game-changing situation. It's 15 to 30 years to a very small business. Quantum doesn't work at all right now, right? In 15 to 30 years, it might be a $100 million business. It's not going to be a $100 billion business. 15 to 30 years, I'll wait any amount of time if it's going to be big enough. There aren't going to be any winners because there's no market. There's no market. What's the market? We run quantum programs on this channel. You want to factor some numbers? What are we going to do with these machines? Assuming we can get them to work. So this has always been an interesting drug. You guys should be aware of this. It basically blocks the antibody recycling receptor, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it the other way around? It's a FcRn. It actually helps recycle the antibodies. Well, you want to get autoimmune, right? Microsoft is just Azure. They're like AWS. They want to sell cloud services. If Microsoft was actually bullish on quantum, they would do stuff in quantum. They're just trying to, some guy at Microsoft is responsible for Azure revenue and he needs to get it up there. It's going to be a hard sell because none of the computers work. So this is competing with this drug. which you guys may know. 𝗣𝗚𝗡𝗦 or 𝗉𝗚𝗡𝗦. This is from Argenx, which we probably should spend more time looking at. Huge drug company, top 30, 39 billion. Don't be scared to get to the money. Wow, so these guys already have 2 billion revenue run rate. Look at that, 573 in product sales. Woo. Beast mode, what a launch. Yeah, I don't think they have a high chance for European approval. 737. Be close to 3 billion in revenue. This could be a cheap stock. Argenx could keep going. It's like the ultimate autoimmune drug. I like Rituxan. I mean, Rituxan is a little bit similar and hit 6 billion or 7. It's one way to kind of keep track of a stock if you don't necessarily want to, if you want to be reminded, you could just go pull up the stock. This is a $600 stock, so buying 100 shares is actually a lot, but I'll just put it as like a placeholder, almost like a post-it note in my portfolio. It's trading at more than 10 times revenue, but it could be trading at 5 times revenue for a couple of years from now. And that's like that's basically 5 times profit. So now I have the stock and it's in my portfolio and remind myself to look at it. You're back from what? I don't know who you are. Oh, I'm back. You guys are a little too, some of you guys, not all you guys, but some of you are a little too parasocial. Parasocial. You understand what that is? I'm not your friend. I'm not your family, unless you're a Godel subscriber. In which case I am. I'll come to your Thanksgiving dinner, no problem. Hey, Martin, I'm back. Who are you? I haven't seen my cousins, my cousins in years. People I grew up with, I haven't talked to or seen in years. Go do what you're good at. Go program or something. You're not good at programming, go learn to be good at programming. Learn quantum physics. Build something, bro. Yeah, some of you don't deserve to be here. Go find the X button, close X right now. If you're on Mac, find the red button, hit that button. Go click Mr. Beast, go watch him. So this is the launch curve for the Argenx drug. And on my GitHub, you can get the launch curve for lots of other drugs. Here it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this, press copy. Well, let's not copy it yet. Let's see. 𝗉𝗚𝗡𝗦, Argenx, autoimmune, first in class. I don't have the exact launch date. Now we're going to paste these quarterlies in here. And this was, wow, this is interesting. So far, they've sold an aggregate $4 billion. Look at the annuals. Let's see, is this a full year? So they're only up to year 3. What happens if I sort by year 3, the largest sales in the drug industry history by year 3? Column K, sort largest to smallest. Takes the formulas and sum up, but regardless, you could see that this drug would be top 14th biggest drug of all time, based on its 3rd year sales. Pretty interesting, right? I have this sorted by lifetime revenue. I'm just adding up all the revenues from, some of these are useful to have as formulas, but you're right. I need them as formulas, actually. And so anyway, why would I use this? How would I use this? Well, let's say you're really interested in that one stock, okay? Argenx. You want to know, could I make big money on this? Okay, so you sort it out. I guess some of these I don't have numbers for. Some of these drugs like Prevnar have been going strong for a long time. As I was saying, you're really interested in this drug company. You want to know it's going to be a big seller. How big of a seller is it going to be? Based on my financial lessons, you know how to calculate what it's worth. But the question is, how big will the drug be? Which you don't know. And you can do all this research into the diseases that they treat, or, which you should, of course, but you also can do this and just look at similar launches. What does a drug that sells 2 or so billion in its first year, 3 years, what does that drug tend to end up becoming? Now, of course, this is not causal or anything, but it could be somewhat interesting. To say the least. So 𝗉𝗢𝗓𝗏 here did 2.1. And so did 𝗠𝗏𝗏, which is still in launch phase, by the way, as we know because we looked at AbbVie yesterday. Shkreli did more than that, interestingly. Cosentyx at 2 billion. Cosentyx is a very good parallel, actually. All right, so let's say you have these couple of drugs and you're worried about 𝗉𝗢𝗓𝗏. So you basically say it looks like it's around these two drugs at least, probably around these. It's sold just as much as Januvia. So now if it ends up like Januvia, shareholders will be very happy. But let's look if it ends up like one of these drugs. Well, already 𝗠𝗏𝗏 is almost 5 billion, which would be great. If that's the case, Argenx has a lot of upside. Cosentyx ended up getting to 5 billion itself, which would also, like I said, still be very good. But the chance that it could end up more like, obviously, there's only one Keytruda. But, you know, needless to say, drugs that sell in their third full year, 2 billion do really well. Even Humira, which currently is, 20 billion, or was 20 billion, peak. Even Humira, sold around that much, adjusted for inflation, years ago. So it looks like, in fact, there's almost no drug I can find that sold 2 billion and stopped. One way to look at that is going to be in good shape. Every drug's lifespan is different. For a small molecule, it's around 10 years, but for a large molecule, it can be 15 or 20 years. Now that's changing as well with biosimilars, but biosimilars still take a while to knock off. All right, so we're doing this just so we can understand for J&J, what do we model for their drug? This company, Argenx, is sort of like a year or two ahead of them. 𝗉𝗢𝗓𝗏 is their competition. Nipocalimab is their drug. That's very similar. And Vivek has a drug. His company's called Immunovant. So Immunovant, core, Immunovant is Vivek's spin on this. And that could be very attractive too. It's a $3.5 billion company. Not bad. We do have Indian employees, yeah. We do have a new Indian employee from Carnegie Mellon. He's great, super sharp. Quantum aficionado too. He knows, in an interview we talked about quantum. He really knew a lot about quantum. He knows more than me. I was surprised actually. He is not long Rigetti. Nipocalimab has taken forever to get approval. I think they dropped the ball. I don't invest in Indian stocks. I should. It's hard to trade that market without special permissions. Very few drugs have been able to beat 𝗥𝗎𝗓. And 𝗥𝗎𝗓 is a big one. You guys would have gone crazy. I was going to buy out. I'll tell you more about it over time. I can't talk too much about it right now, but I was going to buy out a publicly traded company. I was working on that in the last 2 weeks. Well, the last 4 weeks. I decided not to do it. Well, you got to be a member of Godel, Scott. No, it wasn't Chegg. It wasn't Chegg. Oh, wait, I still have Eli Lilly calls? Let's go. I wasn't able to sell these. Yeah. That's a free 50 G's I didn't even know about. 50 G's for free. Thank you. Wow, Carvana's up 10%. Wild. A stock's a stock, man. Doesn't matter what they are. If you're more familiar with the sector, it's good. But some sectors nobody's familiar with. Remember that guy I outed him for having a demo account? He was acting like it was a real account. And you can tell because the account number has P for paper instead of U. And I called Interactive live on stream. And I put on speaker. I just realized I still have my Eli Lilly calls. I put it on stream and I said, because I've had a relationship with Interactive forever. And I said, isn't it true that a paper trading account has the UP, but the U account is the money account? He's like, that's right, sir. I was like, thank you. That was a Wolf guy. Do you remember that guy? Do you remember this guy? They still have it as pretending it was real money, but it was fake.
No, wrong way!
Autofilled.
Wrong way. No. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Because he was like, I'm all in. I'm in these calls. And I was like, bro, it's not going to work. The market punishes anybody who goes all in on one option. He's like, yeah, but I think they're going to have a good quarter or bad quarter. I was like, doesn't matter what you think. Just because you think they're going to have a bad quarter, they're going to have a good quarter. I hope we can get to around like 25 to 50% of Bloomberg's functionality while keeping the price like 5%. for 10% of their price? I think Quest just is, you know, liberal rage. Brokerage probably towards the end of the year is my guess. You can probably connect your brokerage account soon, but for us to do our own brokerage or a lot in execution and stuff like that, it's probably going to be a while. I pray for this quantum bounce. I used to pray for times like this so I could shine like this. Thoughts on risk-adjusted returns? Very important. If you're trading your PA, it matters a little less, I think. Still important. It kind of tells you your trading quality. Yeah, I'm looking for a junior analyst. Only New York-based. No exceptions. Hard worker. Doesn't need instruction all the day. Can still read my mind and do what I ask. Look how volatile it is. It's 37. Now it's 40. 10% move in just morning to evening. Morning to afternoon. Are we hard to borrow? Oh, IonQ is hard to borrow, boys. Yeah, there was a big thing about it, street lore. There was a guy named Freeze, who I guess shot 50. Master J was murdered, theoretically, in retaliation over it. Because Master J was the only guy who would record 50. And I think Supreme said if anybody records 50 Cent, they're getting hit too. So they're not going to let him be a gangster rapper. Even worse, 50 Cent's name comes from a legendary drug dealer, kind of like Supreme, from the streets. So there was a 50 Cent before 50 Cent. And there was a Rick Ross before Rick Ross. And both these guys took their names as an homage to them. So, I mean, look, they want 50 dead. So something real about that, at least. I have so many friends who have been shot 3, 4, 5 times. And they all admitted it. I wasn't anybody special. Yeah, way back when I was interested in it. In prison, I just was around it. I wasn't interested anymore. But way back when I was kind of interested in the whole underground, underworld, all that stuff was kind of fascinating. And then once I got a taste of it, I said, they can have it. Okay, IonQ, let's go. The craziest, scariest gangsters, they didn't want to bother you. They're not going to do anything to you. They're super friendly. They're funny. You know, I wouldn't steal from them or get into a fight with them. That would be scary. But you have guys that are the biggest bosses in history, and they're very chill. The bigger stature they were in jail, the more chill they were. It was the losers and the psycho guys who were always jabbering and trying to flex. A lot of psychopaths, yeah. You're a business person. You don't need to rely on anybody, right? You make good products. People buy them. You do things honestly. People trust you. Keep everything, trustworthy with your coworkers, your clients, your customers, your vendors. That's it. You don't need to be friends with Elon. You don't need to be friends with, this person or that person. They're not going to do anything for you anyway. People overestimate the value of relationships.